Gearing up for the highly anticipated men's 5K. ACC record last year, Gary Martin of Virginia. The Olympian Nico Young took it as well for the NCAA record. A look at Gary Martin broke his own school record. The indoor season opened at a 13:05.57. That was the sixth fastest in NCAA history, Norm.
Yes, well, he finished 7th in NCAA cross country, and he used that fitness in December. You said it was last year. That is true. It was in 2025, but he got the time in December, so it's actually this indoor season. There's Colton Sands. All he did is come to Boston a few weeks ago and run the number 4 all-time performance at 3K. So this should be a great showdown between Sands of UNC and Gary Martin of Virginia. Now, 1 year ago in this meet, we were dismayed when the entries came out because Gary Martin and Sands' teammate, Ethan Strand, were not going to meet in the mile, which could have been spectacular. Martin had run 3:48, Strand had run like 3:52. It was going to be a great showdown. But what happened was in this 5,000, it came down with 1 mile to go, with 8 laps left. It was Martin and Strand shoulder by shoulder, and we said, well, we got our mile. It's just at the end of the 5K. So let's see what happens tonight. You see Gary Martin with the glasses, wearing the 13 for Virginia. He's hoping that's a lucky number for him. He's got the fastest time coming in, 13:05. To me, it's just amazing. I mean, for years, the American record was, like 13:15 or something, and now, people are breaking 13. And guys like him are running it in college. Of course, he also has run 3:48 in the mile. So, I mean, he's phenomenal. And Coach Finland at Virginia has done a great job getting him ready. But how about the coach at UNC? He's been phenomenal too. Chris Miltenberg's had Parker Wolf, Ethan Strand. Those two guys are pros now. And then Colton Sands, the number 4 all-time performance in the 3,000 meters. Again, that was run here in Boston, just a ways across town at Boston University.
He lowered that PR by 9 seconds. Norm, I want to point out in Section 1, Charlie Sprott of Wake Forest ran a 13:46.64. That is a new meet record that beat Matthew Carmody's mark by a second back in 2022.
Just another example of how fast the 5,000-meter times have dropped. What was the all-time meet record in the ACC was gone after the first heat. Now, we have seen the heat winner from the slow heat actually go on to win, but I don't see that happening today when you've got Martin and Sands going head-to-head. I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, sometimes these races turn really tactical, and that's how somebody wins from the slow section, is they're all looking at each other and they're all just jogging. But let's just check a time right now. This is the 800 meters coming up, and actually they're not running that fast. Yeah, it was like 2:23 at 800. So, this is tactical early, but it's still a long way to go. More than 2.5 miles left in this race.
Cameron Todd out in front, followed by Martin and Harari of Syracuse is in third. You mentioned the prowess of the 5K. 3 of the top 8 5K times of the country hail from the ACC. We've mentioned several times already at the outset of this race of Gary Martin. How about Elsinge Caputo, a freshman from Louisville? We also talked about Colton Sands. Ethan Strand ran a meet record last year in Louisville at 13:26.60, beating Gary Martin by nearly 4 seconds.
Well, Martin now in the lead, and Sands is in second.
Martin only behind New Mexico's Haptorm Samuel and Villanova's Marco Langdon for the third best 5K time in the country. Mentioned that mark at 13:05.57 in December. Therefore, Gary Martin of Warminster, Pennsylvania, had a decorated prep career at Archbishop Wood High School. Last year, the NCAA runner-up in the 3K.
And also last year running 3:48 in the mile at the Millrose Games.
Fabulous.
He didn't run quite as fast this year, but he hadn't run a 5,000 hard prior to that either. So, this is his first 5,000 since December.
That was I was looking that up, that mile time. That was the 8th fastest mile in the world last year at the Millrose Games that you referenced.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
And it was an all-time ACC record. Martin, he's got the speed, he's got the endurance. And, he's run well at 10K cross country.
Okay, so tactically here, you see Martin out in front, followed by Colton Sands. We mentioned Martin several times. Take us through Sands tactically here, what he's seeing with 18 laps to go, Norm.
Well, they have two different missions. Gary is just focusing on the 5K here. Mr. Sands is trying to help UNC score as many points as possible. We don't see them winning the men's team title, but we didn't think they were going to last year either, and they did. So I think Coach Miltenberg's having them believing. So he's going to run the 5K tonight and come back in the 3,000. That is probably why he's settling behind Gary and letting Gary do the leading. And Gary's probably pretty happy to do that because he feels very, very confident in his ability to lead from the front. Everybody else is just following him. The race is right where it should be with Martin in first and Sands in second.
You also have Torregano of North Carolina, who's in fourth. I want to give a shout out to Syracuse and Peter Walsdorf for Syracuse right now in fifth. He's a redshirt senior. Came into the program from Kansas. He set a school record for the Orange at 13:32 at the BU David Hemery Valentine, where he took third. But again, a new school mark for Syracuse and Walsdorf. But if you look, Martin out in front.
If you look back into about 8th place, you see the red of Louisville. He's wearing hip number 12. That is Jeffrey Kerwa. He ran a phenomenal steeplechase last year.
Yes, he did.
As a freshman, one of the all-time great steeple performances in NCAA history. He hasn't run particularly fast this year. Yeah, he hasn't run particularly fast this year. He's only run 13:49. His lifetime best 13:46.14. But he has scary ability. So he may be slowly moving up, and I think he's starting to do that now. Again, that's Kerwa in the red, wearing hip 12, now moving into about 7th. Long way to go still.
Also have Ian Kibble out of Louisville as well, another Kenyan out there, Norm, who took third the 2023 ACC Indoors at the 5K. Also look at Nathan Mountain. We've called his name a few times in previous ACC meets. The grad student in Cincinnati native, number 3 all-time at Virginia in the mile at a 3:54.88. Martin still out in front, followed by Sands, and I mentioned Mountain, Norm. He is in third.
13 and a half laps to go now. I think they went through 2K in 6:14. They've upped the pace a little bit. They've been running 34s. Now they're running 33s. Not dramatic, but it's called squeezing the trigger down in a distance race. If you just slowly get a little faster each lap, eventually the pack thins out. So we've got our expected leaders, Martin and Sands, and then Kerwa now moving up into like 6th place. Maybe he's still in 7th.
Norm, from the first time you started calling Gary Martin's races, from that point to now, what has changed tactically in his distance running over time in your eyes?
Well, just, the incredible PRs he's amassed just give him huge confidence. So, he can run from the front. It's not a problem. He used to be, a guy that would sit in the back a little bit more. But, you run 3:48 and 13:05 indoors. You're going to be extremely confident. What I'm amazed is the great job that Chris Miltenberg has done. He had the best guy in the country, arguably the best guy in the country, in Parker Wolf.
Yep.
He turned pro. Ethan Strand is second best guy. He turned pro, but now he's got Colton Sands, who's now the fastest in the ACC at 3,000 at least. It's pretty impressive that one after another. Now Martin's been by far and away the best Virginia runner, although Virginia's got some other good guys. Look at moving up hip number 8 right now. That's Nathan Mountain. He has been an ACC steeplechase champion, and he's now in 3rd. So UVA running 1-3, and then UNC running 2nd and 5th here.
But tactically, Norm, how about the positioning of Colton Sands to be marking Gary Martin? Where do you like his positioning right now?
He's right where he wants to be. He wants to stay close. He wants to, if Gary picks it up, he's going to pick it up with him. But he'd rather not run exceedingly fast in this race. He's definitely in the NCAA meet in the 3K. He knows that.
Yep.
And he wants to have a great 3K on Saturday at the end of the meet. So, no, this is exactly what Sands wants. It's not exceedingly fast. So, I think in Colton's mind, this is perfect. This is right where I want to be. And Gary, he's in the lead the whole time. He's, probably thinking a lot. But again, I don't think he's worried. So I'm not surprised by any of this. I think this is exactly how he played up. But just noting again, Gary's picked it up. We were running 34s and 33s. Now we're running 32s, 32-second 200s. We have 8.5 remaining. So when they come around, it'll be just about a mile to go. We already passed the 2-mile mark. They came through the 2 miles in 9 flat.
You mentioned Sands, how gifted he is in the 3K as well. He ran the 4th fastest 3K time in NCAA history. With second-team All-American honors in the 3K, also a bronze in the 5K as well at last year's meet.
9:32 with 8 laps to go.
Sands as well, and I mentioned this previously about a Cal sprinter. One of the more gifted scholars as well for North Carolina in Sands. Top 10 scholar athletes awarded to the top 5 male and female graduating senior student athletes with the highest cumulative GPAs at North Carolina. Just want to give Colton a shout out there. But it's Martin Sands, followed by Nathan Mountain in 3rd, Cameron Todd also in the mix. I see Todd right now in 3rd. Mountain has fallen into 4th. Tarragano for North Carolina in 5th, closing in with 7 laps to go in the men's 5K.
And the last man in that lead pack of 6, Kipkirchner from Virginia Tech, Nicholas Kipkirchner. So your top Kenyan is Kipkirchner and not Kerwa, who's still running in 7th. But I look at the facial expressions. You know, we have now 5.5 laps to go. So when we come by, we're going to hit the 4K mark. And this time we ran 31.8, so it's dropped down even further. So they're running like, 4:08 mile pace right now, 31.89, and Sands ran 31.88. So they're just matching each other stride for stride up in 1st and 2nd.
5 laps to go. Martin Sands is in 2nd, Cameron Todd in 3rd, Nathan Mountain of Virginia in 4th, Tarragano in 5th. Fortune is in 6th for Virginia Tech.
4K split, 11:08.12.
Watching Kibblewat, Norm, as well, coming in. Right now he's in 6th on the right side of your screen.
Yep, Kibblewat goes past Kipkirchner. But the real story is that top 5. And, of course, the real story is Martin versus Sands. And we have less than 800 meters to go. It's not going to be low 13 type of time. They actually have to think about the 13:46 that was run in that first heat. They have 3.5 laps to go now. So when we hit the finish line this time, there'll be 600 meters to go. We can get an idea of what they're going to be quite a bit over 12 minutes. They are in danger of not winning. Martin and Sands, they came through in 12:11. They'd have to run 1:36, 1:35 over the last 600 to do it. Their last 2 laps were each 32 seconds. They got to pick it up or they're not going to win.
Good call, Norm, with Charlie Sprout with a 13:46.64 with that meet record. It is Martin.
We'll come up with 2 to go. We'll know what they have to do in the last 400. Martin has picked it up. And here it is, roughly 12:43.
I'm watching his kicking. He's going a little bit more here.
They'll get it. They run 63, they'll win. But
Sands in 2nd, Todd in 3rd for Notre Dame.
They can definitely do this, but they have to get after it. 300 meters left. So this is the last turn of the penultimate lap. Martin in the lead. Martin goes wide. Nathan Mountain looking sprightly.
At the bell.
Sands right with him, though. Martin and Sands, this is what we wanted all along, this showdown.
And Sands, here we go to the backstretch. It is Gary Martin out in front.
Martin with the superior mile speed, but Sands with the confidence.
Sands making the move on the outside. Sands got it so far. Colton Sands takes the lead over Gary Martin.
And he's not going to give it up. Martin is waving the white flag. Sands going to be the number 4 all time at 3,000 and the ACC champ.
And an ACC meet record for Colton Sands beating Gary Martin at 13:40.35. North Carolina repeats in the men's 5K here at the indoor meet.
Last lap for Colton Sands, 26.4. Last lap for Gary Martin, 27.92. Nathan Mountain closed in 28.60. He finishes with a 13.43.18. Tarragano of UNC, 13.44.33. UNC getting first. Fourth.
Norm, I want to go back to this move with the backstretch here by Colton Sands.
Perfectly executed timing. He goes by when Martin does not have enough real estate to take it back. And Gary sensed it. You can see the look on his face, and he lets him go. Powerful running. 26.4 at the end of a... Well, look at the smile he has. Yes. Sands heading into the NCAA meet with a great 3K time and an ACC title at 5,000. And that sets him up well for Saturday's 3K, too.
Terrific for Colton Sands, who last year, Norm, finished third in the 5K. You see our very own Matt James getting ready to chat with the victorious Colton Sands.
You finished third last year. You came back. You won it all. You waited to the last lap to kick. What was your thought process?
Yeah, so Coach Marini and I, we're just here to get practice. You know, the real race is in 2 weeks, and I could have gone up front and tried to run a fast time today, but I'm already in. What I need to practice is my close. I'm not going to lead nationals, so why practice leading when that's not what I'm going to do in 2 weeks? We're practicing the skill set, and we're going to come out and we're going to do it again in 2 weeks.
You've got a lot of running left in this meet. What's your thought process going into those last runs?
Yeah, I mean, this meet is practice, like I said. And Coach Marini and Coach Milt, they're the best in the business. And they know what's going to be right for me to be ready to run fast in 2 weeks. And if that means I come back and I run a full 3K in 2 days, that's great. And if we decide that's not the way to go, I'm good with that too.
What's it like to get over the hump with Gary Martin, someone you've been battling against your entire career?
Yeah, I mean, Gary's a great runner, you know. I've been running against him for 8 years. I mean, we're both out of Pennsylvania. He went and made me look really bad out of high school, you know. I was like the top guy, and then he comes along and just makes me look silly. He's as good as they come, and, you know, it's an honor to always get out here to race him. And today I got the best of him, but I'm not taking anything for granted in 2 weeks with a guy like that.
Congrats on a great race.
Thank you.
Matt, and well done to Colton Sands. How about that star-studded showdown of Colton Sands and Gary Martin? Norm, you called it right from the get-go, that exceptional move to end the race.
He nailed it. Congrats to his coach, too, Chris Miltenberg, doing a fantastic job. Let's credit Coach Lanana. They got second and third with Martin and Mountain. Mountain running a PB.
Colton Sands, who finished third last year in the 5K, gets 10 points. The move on the outside, and Colton Sands takes it over Gary Martin and is an ACC champion.